Okay, hello everyone. My name's Sugi Yamagawa, and today on VTubing My Slow Life Hobbies in My 30s, we're going to be working on the shelf project, which the boards are back behind me. Sorry that they're not front and center right now, but this guy is going to be the star of today's show, at least at the beginning. And also, hello and welcome in, Pickle McDillionaire. You're the jack saw of all trades. No, I'm just a guy who has way too many hobbies and far too many interests for my own good. So, game plan for today is... Right now, we've got the edges done on these boards, but I have the faces. These faces have not been taken care of. So we gotta get those taken care of. And by the faces, we got this long side, and we gotta do this for 2 boards, which is what the Wokun's here for. So, and I also did some audio checking earlier before stream, and hopefully things aren't too bad as far as noise from this guy, because historically it's been a loud one. And also, if there's a weird ringing, that's because there's a new fire pit that's right behind my model back there, and yeah, it stands up, it's big, it's round, and I'm really excited to actually do some cooking with it. So, but yeah. So, for general overview for today. Sounds good right now. Oh, thank you. But yeah, I also hope you're having a good weekend so far. I gotta say, it's been really good for me. I might be a hair bit sluggish because I consumed an absolute cornucopious amount of lasagna before stream, so I am very full of food, but also very happy because of food. Food makes me happy. So, step 1, first main goal, we gotta get these faces playing on both boards. Then, at an edge, I have marked with little arrows. We're gonna put some holes in these for some dowels, and Nando would be so proud. Oh, sir, I have pictures of my lasagna. And I gotta say, for like my second time, so this is the second time I've made lasagna, and my motivation to do this was just to use up the remainder of the lasagna noodles that I had laying in my pantry. And holy smokes, for just a like, hey, let's just search for a quick recipe on the internet and cook it, this turned out really good. I am very happy. I am very fat and happy VTuber right now. But yeah, it's basically as good as it looks. I did do one slight mistake with it, and that is I was supposed to get some minced garlic for it, and I completely forgot to grab minced garlic at the grocery store. So I just went with garlic powder. I just substitute garlic powder, but it was still delicious. It was still very delicious, and I'm very happy, and I'm very full. So once we get some holes put in this, and I'm hoping to use the drill press for that, but using large boards like this as a drill press is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. There's going to be some awkwardness there. But we're going to get holes drilled, get dowels inserted, and hopefully do a glue up, and that will actually be mostly it for today. So it's going to be not a whole lot of work, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm also not doing this the way you should do it. So traditionally speaking, for when you're working with like rough lumber like what I have here, the traditional step is you will joint an edge like what we have here, and then you will joint a face. Then planar coon comes into the mix. However, though, this board is pretty flat. I don't have too much warping with it. Also, this is a shelf. It's going to support board games. And I have an 1.25 inch thickness of lumber to play with, so I have a lot of play with my wood, and also if it ends up being slightly imperfect, that's fine with me too, because, well, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not perfect. It just has to be sturdy enough to hold board games and not look like complete dog crap. So, step one is going to be setting my depth gauge on this guy. Because, yeah. And then we'll start feeding a board through. Let's see. Okay, so I have a little indicator on the front plate of this. Tells me how much material I'm removing. I'm looking a little bit aggressive there, so I'll bring this up. My hair. And then we'll just stick our board in. Okay, that seems a little bit less aggressive, so let's make some noise. You're the Ron Swanson VTuber. Oh, I wish I could be that. I wish I could be that cool. I'm not that cool. Granted, I would love to actually work in a park for like fun. That would be really fun. But so first pass through, pretty good. We still have a couple of rough spots. We had planer got a little bit stuck at the beginning. Got a little bit of a burn mark. Nothing bad. Nothing terrible. We can live with that. Granted, I do have to fix the dust collection hose coming off, but let's see about that. Let's give that a twist. There we go. So, hopefully I should just be able to drop my thickness just a hair, and we'll be done with one side. Sure. Thickness just a little bit. And also, I've said this multiple times when working with this material. I love working with it. Like, it just smells like root beer. And it makes the shop smell like root beer, and I love it. I dearly love it. Okay. There's a tool for that. There's a tool for that. That's why I had this here. So, I got a lot of wood chips kicking out of that. Did I get clogged? No. But yeah, this thing makes cornucopious amounts of wood chips. Now I have some slight imperfections. For example, here, definitely see some planer marks there. Got very slight planer marks there. And we got some twisting grain that got us a little bit of a raised bit of nonsense, but overall, not too bad though. So, that is the first of 2 faces. But we still gotta do this side. So, set you there. So we gotta keep dropping our thickness. And let's do a first pass on this guy. So we definitely took a lot more material off in this direction. Also, for those paying attention, you may have noticed that this side went through a lot smoother. That's because the bottom is now smooth, so it slides on the bed of the planer a lot easier than the rough side did. So made my life very easy on that, which I appreciate, because I have a really bad habit of making my life far too difficult for myself. What does this machine do? Oh, so this guy here. This is called a planer. Specifically, let's reveal you in your full glory. So this is a planer. This is specifically a lunchbox planer. And basically what it does is it has it technically doesn't have spiral blades, but it has blades that spin with a very powerful electric motor, because on a previous time, early on in my streaming times, I had this thing hooked up to the same circuit that fed my streaming setup, and this thing plus streaming setup was enough of a load to pop one of my breakers and killed the stream. But this is a very big beefy boy, and it is 92 pounds of planer. And also, for a little bit more of an explanation, let me go grab a thing. So, this is the lunchbox stop. This is basically a medium-sized electric planer. And then what I have here, this is the handheld version of this tool. Which, this is what I like about it, because you can actually see the blades on this one. So, you basically have an electric motor that will spin blades, and what these blades do is they shave off pieces of wood. And they shave off very small chips. And basically what this does is it takes a rough surface of lumber and turns it into a smooth surface of lumber. So, setting that there, we go back to our board, and we can see here on this side of the world, we have, it's very nice, it's very smooth. Whereas here we have a much more coarser, rougher texture. So I'm sending my board through the planer to basically, one, it does reduce the thickness of my material, so makes it less thick. So it does help me get a lighter shelf. But the main thing I want to use this for is just surfacing and making this smooth. Now, this doesn't show too because you can see here all throughout this piece of wood I have all this mineral staining, and what it is actually it's also slightly rotten. And so for personally, I'm a weirdo. Some people would look at this and see this stuff as imperfections. I honestly think it actually kind of looks a little I think it looks a little bit cool, even though having like this little bit of rot here kind of compromises the board's integrity a little bit. but the planer is also going to help me smooth a little bit of that out. This part will not get as smooth as this part. The part where I actually have like good wood, that's going to be really nice and smooth. Whereas this is going to be a hair bit rougher, but that's just the limitations of my material. But that's also why I'm willing to use this material for this project. Now, my other board, so this is my roughly 7.5 inch board in width. My other one's a little bit thinner, and that one has a lot less imperfections in it. And when the shelf is eventually installed in its final location, this board's going to kind of be towards the back, so you also won't see it so much. So that's one of my ideas with like imperfect lumber, is just find a spot where you can like hide it. And also, this is also not an application that needs a lot of strength, and I have plenty of lumber for this application. Like, honestly, I could use 3/4 lumber, and that would be more than sufficient to support the weight of my board games. But even if I'm very aggressive with my planing, I'll still have plenty of thickness to work with. And good evening, Dad's Old Shop. I hope you're doing good, and I also hope I hope your dinner was as good as mine, because my dinner was far too good, and I'm very full of food because of it. Now, granted, I will say I had pho for lunch, so I had a really good lunch as well. But yeah, so Mr. Pickle was asking about. I tried the Cheez-It pizza. I'm a sucker for novelty. Ah, I see. You have also tried the Cheez-It, the Cheez-It pizza. Yo-ho, it's in the gold. Yes, it does. And also, it's just been a while since I've been to my last pho place, so I was like, man, I really need to like get me some of that. But yeah, Mr. Pickle was asking, what does this machine do? So I brought out the Makita electric plane and was explaining electric planes, because I'm a degenerate. Well, I'm being a degenerate today for this project because I am just sending both faces of my board through the surface planer because I don't yes, the devils. Devils because they have motors. The Cheez-It. So I've had the Cheez-It Degen Life for the win. Welcome in, Captain Cocoa Puffs. But yeah, in my experience, so when I had the Cheez-It crust pizza, it was really good. Really, electricity is scary. But Dad's Old Shop, electricity is so fun and powerful. Well, I mean, this tool did pop my... let's just say I have this guy on a completely separate breaker from all the other electric things in my shop, because if I tried to run this thing and all the other electric things in my shop, I won't be able to stream. But yeah, the Cheez-It pizza is really good. I think my only real like critique of the Cheez-It pizza is it in my experience, it was like a little bit too salty, just a hair bit too salty. Granted, that definitely makes me think that they actually used actual Cheez-Its in the crust of that pizza, because Cheez-Its are fairly salty by themselves. Overall, I enjoyed the novelty of the experience. Would I seek out the experience on multiple occasions? Probably not. Otherwise, good. Is my review of the Cheez-It pizza. Okay. So, I've got more material to remove, and hopefully I can remember which way this turns down. Oh, what do you know? I thought the Cheez-It pizza was meh. It wasn't a good pizza, and it wasn't a good Cheez-It, but it's still a pizza. Unless rotten pizza bottoms out at a 6 out of 10. Yeah. Pizza's just like good. Like regardless of like how you choose to consume it. Like pizza's just incredible. I'm very happy I live in a world with pizza. Okay. Let's make some noise. So, still not quite getting as much off that one end, but it is flattening out though. I just have to be real careful about running my fingers over the mineral stain spots, otherwise risk of splinters is definitely very great. And then of course we get a little bit of roughness where we have knots, because that creates reversing grain. Look at look how wonderful electricity is. Dad's old shop, it powers through knots. It makes things so wonderful and easy. And also I also paid, well, I bought this used, so I didn't pay full price for it, but I still want to get my money out of it. And man, I feel like it's been a while since I've really used this for a project. I think it's been probably nearly a year since I've used this guy. So, we're going to continue planing. Okay, so we finally gotten that other side taken care of. However, though, for some reason, that thing really was bottoming out. Wait, that planer doesn't have... It has auto feed? It just struggles sometimes. I think my issue with the auto feed is I have to clean the rollers. Which... that's probably a to-do I have to do. You finally have the board, now only you need the game. Welcome in. Castanote. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. I am just absolutely terrible with names, but yeah. We do have our board. We have a board. We have... Ooh. We have a board that's going to need a lot of sanding at some point. Now, I actually do have two settings on my DeWalt. My DeWalt. The DeWalt. Nando said that just told him about the Omegaverse in the woods. Holy. Oh boy, what a place to learn about the Omegaverse. Oh man. Castanodi. That's one of the best spellings of my name. Love it. I don't deny those accusations. Oh, man. Oh, Jeepers Creepers. But yeah, we do have some imperfections, primarily due to when my auto feed was having alpha toast. Oh, man. But yeah, so I've got some imperfections here. So what I'm probably going to do is drop this just a hair, not a lot, and then on... So this. Will you not do something crazy, please, board? So I also have this. This is a speed tap. I have two speeds. I have a rough cutting speed, and then I have a, let's say, finishing speed. Finishing speed has a lot more cuts per inch. Basically does a lot more cuts, gets a lot more smoother of a surface, so I'm going to try that out and see if I can't just like make this top surface where I have my hand here a little bit better. That'll give me a little bit less sanding to do. Now, for this particular style of power planer, I can only do the switching while I have power to the unit. So, I'm going to power the unit and then switch. Okay, so I desperately need to do maintenance on this thing. But hey, you know what? That's what not streaming tomorrow is called. But overall, that's a reasonably good looking board in my opinion. I did bog out a little bit right here, but it's a pretty good surface. And, even better, we still have a pretty good amount of thickness left. That almost looks like a perfect inch. Now I'm curious. Measuring device. Do we have a perfect inch? Oh, okay. So, it is like 132 fraction of an bigger than an inch. It is really close. I can't believe I actually eyeballed that accurately. Sometimes I can actually I can occasionally do things correctly. Well, guesstimate. So, as far as just... Oh, I knocked my board down. But as far as just YOLOing this aspect of the project, so far, first board done, I'm pretty happy with my results. So, I've got a second board to grab. Oh, wow. Holy smokes. This guy is so much lighter. It is so much lighter. Oh, man. It's unreal the amount of, like, difference in lightness. But as you can see, we have a much, much nicer board here. Basically no imperfections whatsoever. It is a beauty. It is an absolute gorgeous piece of sassafras lumber. Absolute wonderful piece of material. So, we now got to bring this back up because we made our last board very thin, and if we try to take off what would approximately be a 1/4 inch of material in one pass, well, My machine will probably get angry at me if I was to do that. And also, this is a thinner board, and I'm sure it will probably handle the planing a little bit easier. Also, I do have a little bit of live edge on this guy. So, I'm just going to stick it in there, see what my depth gauge do. So it looks like I'm not taking off too much, which is good. That's what I want. So, let's stop talking and actually do something. So, there's your evidence that my auto feed actually does work. It just bogs down in so clean. Yeah, that's what happens when nothing happens. So, granted, I'm also going to take my paste wax and also just wax this a little bit, make my life a little bit easier, I suppose. But yeah, nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened there. So, what I need to do is drop the planer blade height a little bit. And this is basically what I do, is I'll just set my board in, see what the depth gauge says, try to look and see if it's taking anything. Granted, that says it's taking a 1/16 of an inch. We'll just back it off a little bit. And now, we'll try this again. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at this guy. So beautiful. There's a little bit of roughness here. But otherwise, this feller is really, really good. Looking very beautiful. We have ourselves a lovely piece of lumber. So, what I need to do now is, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the height a little bit, not a lot, and I'll send this through and do a finishing stroke. So, for those who may or may not remember, on the first board I sent through here, I did quite a few passes. And what I want to do is I want to make sure both my boards end up at roughly the same level of thickness. So, since I got most of the work done in the first pass, I'm going to set it to the finishing cut setting, and then I'm going to send it through again, and I'm going to reduce the thickness a little bit, but also put a better finish on this top piece. So, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, yeah. That is beautiful. That is some lovely looking lumber right there. So, we got one side done. Feels very smooth. Very nice. So we've got one more rough side to go. And we'll be done with Lunchbox Coon. Which I'm sure there's probably some people who are tired of the big, scary electric tool. Me, not so much. Also, I really did want to, like, actually, like, bust out and use the planer, because it's been a while. And I miss spending time with it. Okay. Once again, second verse, same as the first. We have ourselves a nice, lovely piece of lumber that is looking amazing. So, I am going to do a finishing cut on it, but I need to do a quick check-a-doodles right now. And that's at my thickness. So, I am going to be taking a little bit more off this top part, but what I think I'm going to end up having to do is I'm going to have to take a few more passes off this backside to get to my final thickness, because currently this board is thicker than my other one, and I want them to basically be the same thickness. So that way when I take them and I edge glue them together, they basically make a nice even board. So, let's see. Making panels. Few things feel as official woodworking as panels. It's like boxes and panels. Oh gosh. I will say I'm not particularly great at either one of those, but you know what? I do try. But this is honestly just going to be like a 2-board panel, so this is going to be like simple. When I did my headboard project for my bed, that was, I think I had 5 rows of boards, and this guy, how, can I point at myself? Yeah, there we go. This guy down here decided to glue 5, well, I was using 5 boards, so that was 4 joints in one go. And that was a terrible idea. That was terrible. I learned a very valuable lesson that day. But we have lumber. It's pretty nice. I think I'm a little bit too thick though, but we'll see. Yep-a-doodles. Yeah, we're a little thick, but that's fine. We can always remove material. This is woodworking. We can remove material all day long. We just can't put material back. Is the thing. So, I am wanting to keep a little bit of this live edge detail I have here, just to give the shelf a little bit more character. So, I'm going to be taking my thinning passes down here. So I'm going to now, let's see, let's drop this. So I've dropped it a little bit. I'm going to still leave it on the finishing cut just because I wanted to have like nice cuts. And I'm going to send this through, check my thickness, and if I need to send it, I'm expecting to do 2 passes based off where I'm at right now, because where are we at in terms of thickness? Because we're at 1 1/8 inches in thickness, and I just need to be a hair bit bigger than 1/8. So I could do this all in 1 pass, but that's 2 passes just seems like it's probably going to be better. So let's get planing. This project is showing me the difference between hand tool and hybrid working. Traditional, I'd resaw the board thinner, as hand planing that much would be painful. Well, I don't know. I think if you had like a large enough jack plane, well, because Rex Kruger has shown seeing him use his like heavy wood planes to take like heavy shavings has been definitely a thing. So right now, if I just reduce this a little bit more, I'll probably be perfect. And I think that's going to be my little bit more to perfect on this guy. But yeah, I mean, essentially my approach to woodworking is I use whatever tool I think is good for the job. And as much as I do like using hand planes to an extent, I am for that size you would use a throat size scrub plane. Yeah. For this much board, yes, you would definitely want to use something like a scrub plane or something that take care of this much material, because it is quite a bit of material. As for me, I happen to just have like big heavy power tool in my shop that can do big heavy power tool things, because I get to use, I'm in a very nice spot to be able to use electricity to do my heavy lifting. My scrub plane chunks out 1/8 inch at a time, about 1/4 inch wide. I'd be there forever. I mean, hey, that's a way to fill a stream, you know? Just been there just planning all day. Okay. Let's wrap up our planning shenanigans for today, shall we? Okay, so I think, holy smokes, we're there, and we're more importantly there perfectly, which comes as a moment not a moment too soon, because when I start seeing like this amount of shavings coming out of my plane, That means my dust collection is probably getting pretty full, which I'm actually curious. Definitely have a lot of static electricity. Woo. Okay, so thank you, DeWalt, for your service. I appreciate you. You helped make my life a lot easier here. So, let us make room for the next tool. And here's the next tool, which this is going to be fun. And what's going to make this fun is, well, as you can see, I have big boards, but I have very little support text. Well, actually, I do have a little bit more with this guy. Oh, there we go. So I have a little bit more additional support, but we don't have a lot of support here. Sugi does not have a lot of support here, so this is going to be fun. Because essentially, the next step in this fun process is going to be drilling dowel holes. And yeah. Now, I've got some... I'm planning to use these... I think these are... Are you quarter or half? You might be half. Oh, yeah. These are half-inch oak dowels, so... Game plan is... We're going to drill a series of dowel holes into these two pieces, insert dowels, and then we'll start to glue up. So... But yeah, I have to... figure some stuff out. Specifically, what I really need to figure out, because I know how I'm going to be. I know how I'm going to be consistent with the depth of my holes, and that is I'm going to get this fence clamped down, and then I'm going to make sure that the top of the boards is going to be facing me, and then with the top of the boards facing me, I can just drill holes all the way down my board, and I can get consistent. It'll be consistent in terms of depth. Now, well, the issue I have to particularly be mindful of here is I need to make sure my dowel hole I drill on this board lines up with a dowel hole on my other board. This is my next challenge. Speaking, you can just... Oh. I was impressed I was able to push that. So many moving work. So many things move here, which is both blessing and curse. So... get both my... So this is going to be the top of that. And that's going to be the top of that. So these two guys are going to be my lines ups. Actually, this feels a little bit more cozy for me. Ah, there you are. Got you. And we have this. So fun thing is with these dowel holes, I can be completely arbitrary with how I place them. So, before we were talking in quarters and eighths and 16ths and 32s and all that. Now, we can be metric degenerates and use the metric system for this next part of the process. And oh dearie, I see your message, Mr. Spock, and welcome in, but I can't. It's a little hard for me to read because it's not showing up in my like chat window in OBS. Let's see. You could use for the whole upright. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Spock. I just can't read the message because it's not on. For some reason, OBS drops some of the chat messages from time to time. So, I'm gonna get my boards roughly where I want them, and then I'm gonna pick an arbitrary mark. And I'm going to make a reasonably nice, heavy... Boo! The Imperial measure system's what beat back the British in the 70s. So, the real joke here, Dad's old show, that was an OBS, is YouTube YouTube filtering the message? Oh, okay. Because it was weird, because I saw it up on, like, my screen, but I didn't... I didn't see it in OBS, so... But, so the funny thing about... The thing I think that actually makes your joke a little bit funnier, Dad's Old Shop, is the British, to this day, use a hybrid system of imperial and metric, which is basically what I'm doing here today, is a hybrid of imperial and metric. But if I'm just doing something that, just random, well, not necessarily random spacing, but I don't really care about my spacing, guess what? I can just use whatever I want. Well, I can just choose any arbitrary spacing for my dowels. So, just do... Because honestly, I'm just aiming to do 6 to 7 dowels in this, because it's honestly just 6 dowels would probably be overkill for Imperial migraine. Oh no. Actually, wait a second. Mr. Spock, I am cracking open this Modelo for you. So, cheers, buddy. Now, I gotta say, when it's come to cervezas, I've definitely been on Team Dos Equis, but I have to say, Modelo is a really good Mexican lager. If you had a divider, you could just break it down into halves without actually measuring. If I had a divider, I could break it down into halves without actually measuring. You mean like some sort of like arbitrary spacer to... I mean like... I honestly only use the measuring right angle just because I want it to be like somewhat consistent. Modelo's a real glow up recently. Yeah, because this is actually the #1 beer in America right now, I think. Yeah, a hinge thing. Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Those. Well, funny enough, I actually have two of these bad boys, but for now, I'll just take a couple sips of just the one. Cause, well, actually, granted, with the amount of lasagna that's in me, okay. So, this was my dinner tonight. This was plate 1 of 2. So, as you can see, I took like a little bit of the corner out of my lasagna tray. And then, after I finished what was on my plate here, I went for the second. You see them a lot in blacksmithing, but they make woodworking ones. Ah, cool. But yeah, I am so incredibly full of lasagna. I could probably knock back quite a few Mordellos. Actually, what's the ABV on you? I don't think it's a lot. Oh, 4.4. Oh man, this is chicken lasagna. Nah, this was actually I actually used ground beef and marinara sauce for this lasagna and plenty of cheese. Also, one of the, I think, neat things that the recipe I tried suggested was taking the ricotta cheese, cracking an egg, and then mixing the ricotta cheese with the egg in a small bowl, and then dolloping the ricotta cheese and egg mixture into the lasagna. Now, generally, I know I've said before that I'm not the biggest fan of eggs, but that's eggs by themselves. Eggs mixed into a thing are definitely all right by me. But yeah, I had some really good food. So this stuff, a little bit of this isn't going to do much to me. I ate some cinnamon toast with can of butter. Ooh, butter. Sounds good. Sounds really good. Okay, time for more arbitrary marking. Because that's mark 4. And we're just going to do 3 more. Just because I can. Okay. So that is going to set that's going to set the spacing for my dowels on both work pieces. Now, some people, actually wait. Oh, so one reason why I go for a little bit excessive on the number of dowel points is I've had a history of not being super accurate with my dowel holes, so what I'll do is I'll be a little bit over aggressive with my dowel holes, and then when I go into the glue up, if I gotta kill a dowel, I will kill a dowel. So say one dowel in the set is fighting me. If I go for, and I think in this case I've marked out like room for 7 dowels. If I need to kill 1 or if not 2, that's not gonna hurt this project in any way whatsoever. Especially considering the fact I'm using like 1/2-inch dowels. Like 1/2-inch dowels are overkill for this. But this is also a project that I'm basically using leftover lumber for. And just scrap pieces in general. So yeah, I'm just going to keep using scrap pieces. So next up is getting this fence set. So as far as depth is concerned in my boards, I'm not too particularly concerned as long as I'm consistently parallel. Which, actually, as long as I'm holding to that, I should be good. And then that's... Holy smokes, that's actually really close to center. That's really close to center. Oh, man. Am I just going to arbitrarily succeed? Arbitrary success. It does happen. Thank you, Mardella. Okay. That clamp's eventually going to grab. Eventually it's going to grab. Come on. Please grab. Because it is very important that does not move, because this fence right now is what is going to set the depth for all my holes, and it is very important that stays consistent, i.e. this does not move in any way. So I need to bring this towards me and then away from me, and then that just exposes my locking casters towards me, and that lets me lock this bad boy into position. Now, I know the people here, and I know generally some of your fields of expertise. And I have a question. I have so this is nearly a gallon of grain alcohol at 80% ABV. Any suggestions on what a guy can do with grain alcohol, by all means, feel free to submit those, because right now, my main two plans for this neat substance that has come into my hands is, one, I kind of want to try making a, like a small little, like, mini alcohol stove, just to, like, just make it, try it out. And then number two is keep some of this around and then use it as, well, it is, so this is actually originally intended to be used as a antiseptic sanitizer, and I do plan to use it for, this is something I could use in like airlocks for my brewing equipment. But also another reason I grabbed this is I really liked the 1 gallon big open mouth container, well, lid, because I was like, man, this thing would be like great for like some small like brewing projects, like Haggle. He was talking about how he made fermented carrots, and I was like, that sounds delicious. So this came into my hands, and I was just like, oh, okay. Mix grain alcohol with flavor extract. You can make any hard liquor like Jamaican rum extract. Ooh, making flavor extracts. Thank you. I like that idea. But for those who may be wondering how I came into possession of this, back during this was actually made by Jephthah Creed. They're a bourbon distillery here in Kentucky, and so during the COVID years, the breweries wanted to participate in like being a force for good during those dark times. So what they did is they made alcohol and then made really concentrated versions of it to give out as sanitizing solution for all the various needs of sanitizing everything we had to do back then. So yeah, a nice little vestige of those times that's now laying around my shop, and I'm just looking at it and it's like, huh, what can I use this for? Okay, let's grab ourselves some bits, some lovely bits. Oh yeah, this came in. I actually bought a vise for the drill press. So if I want to get like, do some like really like special stuff, I can do some real special stuff with this. Okay. It's the logical thing to do. No, Mr. Spock. Okay, let's see. I think so. With my half-inch bit in there, I think my fence needs to come a little bit back out. So it's a little too tight. So we'll tighten that back up. And then we'll bring this down. I want to see how much distance that is between. It's a 1/4 inch. Put it in your car window washer. But using it as car window washer seems kind of like. Okay, so using it in the spray things seems like a waste, but using it as. Yeah, go grab a board or a scrap. Yep, that's the way to do this. Oh no, look, it is literally a piece of sassafras that was scrap laying around. Now I just gotta grab my power. Get a little power. See, Dad's little shop? Power's not scary. Power's your friend. As long as you don't trip on your power. Okay. So, on. Oh no, we're only going like 400 revolutions a minute. Let's ramp that up a little bit. 1,000 sounds right. And... Sorry. Oh my gosh, the sounds it made me happy. Power makes me have to have extra safety stuff, and I'm lazy. That's fair. I mean, me, I just wear glasses. But that's gonna be like near perfect in terms of a hole. Now, let me grab a dowel here. And, ooh, yeah. Tight. Safety squints and gauges. Yes, safety squints. Ah, Judy, you get it. You understand the power of the safety squints. But yeah, that's really good. Now, there's, whoa, stay. One more thing. And also, welcome in, Judy. I hope you're having a good day and a good weekend. So, I'm going to need to put half my material, which actually probably should be measuring this. Length of my I think these are 1/2 inch. No, they're... Why did I... Okay, so I cut these dowels 1 3/4 inches for reasons I don't fully understand. So this means I have to have 7/8. Yeah, 7/8 has to be the depth of my stop, which seems strange to me. So, let's see here. Let's do there and roughly there. There we go. So the blue tape. Oh yeah! I just never been bothered to learn how to use it. Let's see. How's this thing? Oh wait. But that. Oh wait. Oh wait. One moment. I gotta learn. This bitch deeper than halfway to give room for wiggle, and then the 2 pieces of seat fully. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I see the thing. I just need to, like, think. Wait, does this spin? It spins! Wait, it's slow. Oh. Okay. So if I need 7/8 to fully seat the dowel, I think going just a hair past an inch should be good. The only issue I have with using the stop is I'm gonna have to calibrate this. Oh, at least. Holy schmoly olies. I gotta actually drop my... Oh, this is gonna be delightful, because this has to drop in quite a bit. So, I think... Oh, wait, is that loose? I'm gonna hit too many. Eat it into the hole you... made it. You made already. What? If it's only a few pieces and your stock are not all the same height, then just using tape is fine. Actually, so my stock is actually all the same height. Well, the same. I didn't make care to make sure all my stock's the same width, which is why I was going to use the reference. I was going to use this as a reference. Yeah, I was going to use this fence here as a reference for making sure everything is centered right. And then I'm going to always... And then I also have little, like, arrows to help me consistently point the boards in the direction they need to be pointed in. But I need to drop this. It's actually very important that I drop that. Granted, I might have to actually go the tape route. Wait, is that all the way down? Or am I just not loose enough? Wait. There we go. I think I bottomed out. Okay, yeah, that's a bottom out. Oh, dearie. Oh, dearie. Oh, no. I don't have enough drill press. Oh, dearie, this is sad. Actually. Wait a second. Idea. Do I have access to a shorter drill bit? Wait, actually, speaking of shorter drill bits. These guys are pretty short. Yeah. Boston bits to the rescue. Yeah, I think this will work quite a bit better than using standard drill bits. Ah! Because here's a little bit difference. A collection of stubby drills will be invaluable for a small drill press. Yeah. Well, I will say, this is this guy's first drill press, and I am like, I've been tickled pink by this machine. I've been very happy and very satisfied with this machine. It's just I also haven't used it enough to understand its limitations. Okay. There we go. I'm going to just turn it on quickly. Yep, no wobbles. So, I think that's going to give me all the room in the world there. Because my other piece of stock is a little bit thicker as well, so. Oh. Cool. Now I just have to... Honestly, I think I'm going to go the tape route, because the tape is just going to... It's just going to be... It's going to be a lot easier for a silly Billy like me to use. Let's see. Where do I want my tape? Cutting edges there. Honestly, as long as I go to where the shaft of the bit flares out, that should be my measure right there. So, wowee, it should be pretty close. So, let's get into this. Let's drill some holes. Oh. My depth stopped. Probably should not have done that with my hand, but no one saw that, right? Okay. We advance. Okay. Woohoo! Okay. Oh. Yep. Okay. So, I'm gonna have to move my drill press out. Reason being is my drill holes aren't perfectly centered. So I was initially thinking I could just take the board and flip it around and drill holes from the other side. That theoretically could work. However, though, it would only work if I did the exact same thing to the other board as far as the how I set all the drill holes out. So I'm gonna take my drill press and I'm gonna, oh wait, I should probably unlock the casters if I'm gonna move it. There we go. Now we can move. Are you intending to drill all the way through? No. I am making holes just big enough to get this dowel 7/8 of an inch into one board and then 7/8 of an inch into another board. These are 1 3/4 dowels, 1/2 inch thick. So that's what we're doing right now, is we're making dowel holes for a panel glue up. So my game plan is I'm going to pull drill press a little bit further out. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I can bring it in a little bit more. Yeah, I'd say that's reasonable. And then I'll tilt the drill press and give myself more room going this way. Because with this angling, I have a lot more room to go that way. Or I should. But let's just test it out before we start having fun. So that's easy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we got room. So I've got all the room going that way now. So with that, let's lock. And lock. Woo! Well, that's just the joys of actually working on stuff. But hey, you know what? Shop time's a good time. So, now that we have all the room we need, let's finish up these dowel holes. So, turn you on. And line things up. Okay. One last hole. Nice. And there we go. That is 7 holes drilled. 7 holes for 7 dells. And I'm going to take this and then give that a good couple of taps just to hopefully knock any sawdust out of those holes. Gosh. Also, this is another reason why I really like working with sassafras, is it's just real, it works very easily. It's very easy to work. The material doesn't bite you, and it also smells amazing. I will be singing the praises of sassafras until the day I die, because I truly love working with sassafras. Really glad I bought this lot of lumber 3 years ago? I want to say it was 3 years ago I bought this lot of lumber. Okay. Let's see. So, we've got the magic mark. That's going to be pointing at me. That's going to tell me that this is where I want the hole to go. And also, I suppose the other trick is my marks for when I mark this workpiece. Those are also all marked consistently. But since I'm going to be working with this, I'm going to play with my camera just a little bit here. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit more of a view of the fun stuff that's going to be going on. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that last one. That last one's just a little bit hard to see because of that. And I actually don't have a lot of room between my board and this guy. So, well, between the end of my drill bit and my workpiece, I don't have the greatest amount of room, so I'm gonna really have to be like on this guy as far as like holding it. So just make sure I get it where I want it. Make sure I'm referencing it right. Turn it on. And I think I need to come. Because when I hold it down here, that looks about as good as I can get. Shoo. So, then we're going to move over, get a little bit more assistance from gravity. And go again. There we go. 3 down, 4 to go. Okay. Second. Wait a second. The wood chips are starting to interrupt the... Yeah, some of these holes are very uneven. I'm gonna have to do some serious double checking later. And that last one's just going to be a fight. Because I have way too much weight that way, and I'm also slightly concerned here. Because, let's see. This one doesn't seem bad, but this one I really don't like this guy. I really don't like that guy. Rest of them seem not too bad, though. Okay. So we're probably not going to go... We're not going to probably put a dowel on this one. Because this one will really throw us off. But while this is off... So, if we don't use this dowel... That gets us 5. Well, yeah, gets us 5 dowels, which should be fine. But I want to... see if I can't make that last one actually happen or not. I see I'm actually hitting one of my shelves. I think I'm going to have to just give up on that one. So, we're going to have to do this with 5 dowels. Once you made sure the rest lines up, if it really bothers you about, you can just drill another set of offset the wonky hole. Yeah, that's always an option. It's just what you want to work with at the end, you know? This is also one reason why I always drill and set more holes than what I need. Because if one or two ends up being a little bit off, I can just abandon them, and it's no big deal. I'm pretty loosey-goosey with projects. Especially like low-stakes projects like this. Like, this is a board game shelf. It's not like a playground where kids are going to play on it or anything, where I would be a little bit more concerned about structural integrity. I just need dowels to help hold these two boards together and distribute weight, which... Going with half-inch oak dowels is kind of already overkill. So, I'm going to line up my magic arrows. And then I'm going to compare holes. And mostly what I'm going to be looking at is whether or not, is how thick. So I think you should be able to see here. It's quite a bit different. Whereas if we go further down our set, like if we go this way. Whoa. Hold still, please. Please, hold still. But if we go down this way, it's looking a lot more consistent, so I just feel like the best course of action at this point is just to abandon the walking hole and be like, that gives me 5 dowels left to play with and should be good. So, Grizzly Drillbreast Coon, thank you for your service. I still have a lot to learn in using you well, but you're a very fun tool to use, though, with a lot of good capabilities. So that's gonna go there. I'm gonna make a magic cord disappear behind me. My boards are gonna go to the table saw. And it's so stiff. Oh, that's why it's stiff. It's hitting the clamps. Okay. I might want my clamps though. So I'm gonna recover my clamps before. Well, I'll just get my clamps off for now. So we'll get the clamps off. Because I might be using these guys. Actually, do I have... I don't have the... I need to get more of these guys. Which me and my bestie have plans to go tool shopping tomorrow, so I might actually pick up 2 more of these clamps, because getting 2 more would be very useful for the things I do. There's tools everywhere. There's tools absolutely everywhere. And I was trying to avoid that, but I'm too clumsy. I am far too clumsy. Okay. So, we got the boards here. And now, actually I didn't do a good job of getting the sawdust out of this guy. What job? Looks a lot better, a lot better. All sorts of lots better. So, I know where my wonky hole is. It's far down there. Sure. Where did I put my wood glue? Oh, I just never got it out. Okay. So the first step is the next step moving forward is getting my... Well, actually, no. The first step is getting a bottle of wood glue opened up, which is always a struggle for me. Whew. I don't know. Now the question is, will wood glue flow for me? Oh. Ooh. Oh, oh. Ooh, okay. So it looks like I have a little bit of crust, but that's what knife coon's for. So if I can get that little bit of crust taken care of. There we go. And there we go. We should be able to put some glue in this. So let me grab you, a tappy tapper, and a bin of dowels. And oh no, the Mordello's gone. I better fix that problem. So I'm gonna go fix that problem with more Modelo. So cheers. Also, by the way, this is going to be my last alcoholic drink of the night. Well, actually, no, after stream I'll probably have some cider. But I truly have not actually had that much brewskis today. There we go. Give that a good old double wood glue there. Grab a dowel. And just a few taps. Granted, I want to check and make sure that's not sticking up more than an inch. So it's just a hair bit it's a hair bit under. So I'll give it a little bit more of a, because you don't want to hit your dowels too hard with the hammer, especially with a steel hammer like this, because it can mushroom the dowel out. And then you'll be wondering why your dowels aren't going in. You'll have a bad time. Okay, so that should be good. So we'll just keep on moseying along. So I did not get much glue squeeze out on that last one. I'm going to be a little bit more generous with this next one. And ideally, as I get the dowel in, I get a little bit of glue coming out, which you can see a little bit of glue coming out there. I'm almost thinking I should have drilled these holes maybe a little bit deeper. But I should be good. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how much I have to fight this when I go for the glue up. Which, trust me, I have fought my glue ups before. But this is a pretty small one, so I'm not expecting too many difficulties. And then if you get a little bit of mushrooming, that's fine. You can just take your knife. You can take a knife or a chisel. Whatever reasonable wood carving implement. I know some people will take a chisel and they'll actually like chamfer their dowels a little bit. So that way, if they do mushroom them a bit, it's not really a big deal. That's And that's the thing I dislike about them. I think my holes aren't deep enough. And I'm distrustful enough to... I might grab the pole saw out and I might cut these short after I get them set. Because I'd rather not fight these too much, you know? So that's my wonky hole. We're gonna skip, and then that's my last one. So we got you. There we go. Maybe I should spin them too. That might help a bit. Okay. So, we got 5,000 inputted. However, though, there is no one's work I distrust more than my own. So, I'm going to be doing another step here. And I'm going to... Let's see. How much of an edge do I want? So, I'm going to manipulate Camera Coon again. Because we're mostly going to be focusing here anyway, so. But I'm going to grab my pool saw out, and I'm going to take just a little bit off each one of these dowels. Because I don't want to have to fight this any more than I do, and I'm also just willing to take the time to do it. So, 1 second. Plus, I'm also not intending this to take forever as a process, so... And there we go. So that's still going to be plenty of material for... Yeah, because that's still a hair a little bit more than 3/4. So that's going to be plenty of material to support the connection. Granted, I also like the fact that these dowels aren't really... They're not behaving too wonky when I'm trying to cut them. So that means they're well seated in the board. I've done that mistake before, and I've made it again. Dearie. Ooh. How about this? Woo! Okay. I'm going to flip the board around. And then this way, this one is really close to me. Easy to work on. Because I need to get every advantage I can take. But this is what I really like my pull saw for. Well, my pull saw is it's really good for small light cuts like those. Other than when I do something stupid with my saw. Well. And speaking of stupid, we'll see. I'm going to just wait a little bit of a moment and see if that clots. Because if it clots, that's great. If it doesn't, well, there's band-aids. So, while we're waiting, I'm just going to go take my chisel. And I'm just going to kind of clean up the edges of my dowels. Kind of just chamfer them a little bit. Just to make it, just to hopefully make my life a little bit easier. No guarantee, but I try. I certainly try. Because when you chamfer the edges like this, what you do is you basically make a smaller circle than your dowel. So when you go to line up your holes, the smaller circle helps pull the dowel together. And then the actual shaft of the dowel actually lines everything up, and then you're pretty good at that point. Now, this isn't necessarily 100% necessary, but I was a little bit rough with my steel hammer. So I just want to make my life as... I want to make this as painless as I can. The glue up. Because I have a history of not making things easy for me, and I need to rectify that history. Sure. Got 2 more to do. But yeah, this is also what happens when you're just a complete amateur in a shop trying to have fun by yourself. Well, I don't know. I'm not necessarily by myself. I'm with chat, but... But we are getting close to the end, though. Here. And there we go. So I'm just also sighting down the edge of my board, and it looks like all my dowels are fairly straight, fairly lined up. So my magic arrow points up, so we'll set that there. And then I have my magic arrows up over here. And then we're just going to line this up. then I'm going to see how well they want to come together. That's one. So, which one's fighting? I think it's this one. So, ooh. So this one seems to be at a slight crookedness. And there are ways you can kind of fine-tune that a little bit. Like a little bit. Depending on like how loose you got your dowels. So I think this one over here is a bit loose. And dry fitting like this is basically how you find out how much you want to cuss at yourself later. So I think this one here is fighting me. Give that a few taps. And this is basically what happens with dowels. Is it's that looks good. Good. Maybe you not so much. But this one. But it's always better to fight your dowels when you don't have glue all over everything. Makes it so much easier. Okay. So for that and that. And this is going to be dry fit, hammer, finagle, dry fit. It's just fussy. Really close. But I think I might have to abandon one of my dowels. Is what I'm leaning towards. Because this one's going to fight me. Sure, I actually have options. So one option I can do is I can actually try to make... Because you can adjust the dowels a little bit with the hammer, but... I'm thinking at this point my hole's just poorly made. Or it could also be this hole. That's poorly made. So. But if this doesn't work out, then I'm fully prepared to kill it out. Even though it looks like it's really close to when it goes. Actually, I'm going to try a thing. I'm going to try just one dumb thing. And my one dumb thing is I'm going to use my knife to ream the hole. And what that's going to do is going to kind of create a little bit of a lip. So rather than a sharp transition like I have with that hole, I kind of create a softer transition. And then that might be able to guide that in a little bit better. But also, I am no expert in this. I am not... Just a guy who likes to have fun in his garage. Okay, so. So it seems like So, it's definitely wanting to go together. Better, okay. I think I'm gonna just ream my holes out. Because I do have some imperfections, but if I can get everything to start going to, if I can bring everything together slowly, I should be able to use clamps to cheat it the rest of the way, is my hope. Is what I'm hoping for. Okay. That goes, that looks like that's going. So it's coming together closer. It's just that this one's fighting me, I think. So. But I haven't hammered on that one, so hopefully a light hammering is what's it takes to convince it. Let's see what some love taps can do here. Okay. So I'm convinced at this point, if I go for the clamp, I can pull everything together and I'll be good. So I know that seemed like a lot of work, but this is kind of what happens when you don't do dowels without a jig or some way to more consistently set your holes. It just becomes excitement. Which is the nice way of putting it. Excitement's the nice way of putting this. Okay. So, there's that. There's this here. Also, the way I worked with these boards was a little bit imperfect. So I'm kind of paying for that now. But I'm also just gluing up two boards, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's see here. What do I want to do next? I need to get clamps. I think that's pretty close to what we got going on. Make sure these are off ran all the way in. Holy smokes. Need to bring you in badly. There we go. Bring you in. Actually. Okay, that looks reasonably good. Now, the big thing I believe in when I do this, and that is a concept I like to call home field advantage. What I call home field advantage is basically having all these little, the things that actually do the clamping. Having those close by is an absolute tremendous help. So, I'm gonna set my board, get a rough idea of my distance, and I'm gonna start bringing these bad boys in. If they'll let me. Because I get wood glue on them and it kind of gets stiff. But that's what knives are for. Come on, knife. So that's really close, but still gives me a little bit of room to play with. And that's what I want to do for all these. If I can. Gee, play nice. Reasonably. Okay, cool. So I've got everything pretty close to where I want. So let's tip our boards up and get ready to apply some glue. Because it's glue up time. So I'm going to start off. Once I get some glue flowing, I'm going to hit my dowel holes. And then I'm just going to get a nice little helping of glue in the dowel holes. And then honestly, I'm just going to hit all of them. Because I don't want to be bothered to keep track of which ones I've got glue and which ones I don't. And then I'm just going to apply a nice generous bead down my board. Woo! Because this is the spooky part, because this is where I'm basically big committed. But hey, you know what? Today turned into... I was almost concerned today's stream was going to be on the short side, but that certainly has not happened. Okay. Seems like a reasonably good helping of glue. And then I'm going to take my finger. And I'm just going to go up and down the board and spread it out. And that's just going to help give me a little bit extra. It's going to just help spread that glue out a little bit more. Kind of make my life a little bit easier. With that done, I grab a piece of trash out of my trash can and then I use that to clean my finger. Why waste a perfectly good paper towel, you know? Okay. With my glue spread out, we are now in committed zone. So let's commit. So, let's see. Can I move this up a bit? Nah. Okay. So we got ourselves started down there. So I'm going to come down here. So this dowel feels like this is going to be the one that's going to fight me a little bit. And what I thought was going to fight me did not. And here comes the fun part. So I fully extended this one clamp up by me, and it was not enough because of how much travel I have. So I'm going to fully unwind it. Increment my clamp up. And then I'm going to start. And then once I start feeling all my boards come together, So whenever I try to do like a panel like this, I always try to like be somewhat even. Okay, got a bit of a gap here. So. And now I'm starting to see my squeeze out happen. Might be able to see. Oh wow, that's actually really hard for you guys to see. So, all the various imperfections have made themselves quite clear, but I now have a glued panel though. And I do have a little bit of gapping because I didn't do the best job with jointing everything. But this is pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. I can do better though. So, let's see. I'm going to add a clamp down here. Actually, that's not enough clamp. How about you two? So we're now in the great tradition of woodworking part where we've entered the stage of not enough clamps. Wait a second. Wait a second. Is that as far as you open? You're just a hair bit short. Okay. These guys should be better. And what I'm going to do with these two is I'm just going to use them to get a little bit more pressure at my ends. Just because the reason why my spacing on these clamps is so tight is that's all the room I have in terms of support underneath the table saw. So I need to come down here. I don't have much of a gap in my boards here. It's not too terrible. But it's really bad down there. But I have a solution for that. And this is my solution. So these are treated pieces of 2x4 with cellophane tape on. And basically what the tape does is it keeps the wood glue from sticking to the actual wood. So what I'm going to do... Actually, I'll do it and then I'll spin this around. That seems to be the correct way to do this. So we'll set that there. Clamp one. Clamp two. And other side. Okay. This might be tricky, but I am gonna show you. Or try. Sugi can manipulate stuff through his shop. So, I think that's about as far as I'm going there. Show. You know what? Field trip. Can I field trip? Field trip. So, that's what we got going on there. Sorry for my wonky camera work, but this is... So I've got the two pieces of 2x4s, and they've got clamps on them. And basically what happened is the boards weren't exactly parallel. And since they weren't exactly parallel, I put the 2x4 there with the cellophane tape, and that keeps everything nice. It brings everything together and keeps it from... It keeps everything in the same plane of existence, essentially. If I hold that... Basically, if you do your finger and go across this edge, you don't feel the difference in the boards. Now, there is a bit of a difference down here. Now, there are some things I can do to address that. And I'm going to stop holding this camera while I don't know if people like shaky... I don't know how much people like shaky cameras or how much people like... Ah! I'm getting wood glue on my mic. Oh, dearie. Actually, I'll grab 2 paper towels for that, just because they're quicker and easier to grab. Okay. But yeah. So, I'm gonna wet my paper towel, and then well, this is gonna be like off stream, but I'm gonna wet the paper towel, and I'm gonna go through the boards, take care of all that, make sure I don't have any, loose bits of wood glue, because it's always a lot easier. It's always a lot easier to clean up wood glue while it's wet versus when it's dry. Even though it's not too hard to do it while it's dry, but it's just easier when it's wet. So, this is probably as far as I'm going to work on this project on stream, because I'm sure the latter half of this stream wasn't exactly the most entertaining thing in the world, and I don't think there's anything I could do to make sanding interesting. So this is probably as far as I'll go on this project. The panel is a little bit longer than what I need, but that's just in case I have any, because this board here, the wide one, does have a little bit of a crack right there. So I might cut a little bit more of that off. That'll help clean that up a little bit, make that look a little bit nicer. But I've got to let the wood glue dry, then trim it to length, do a whole bunch of sanding, and debate whether or not I want to do a finish or not. I have finished some projects. I have also unfinished others. I do have a book on finishing that I actually need to spend some time sitting down and actually reading and learning about finishing that way. So hopefully I'll get around to that one of these days. Not entirely sure, but yeah, for now, this is the end of this project, and thank you very much for everyone who came to stream today. Like, didn't think this was actually going to be this much of a project, but I'm still very much on the new side to the whole woodworking game, so I have a long way to go as a woodworker, but I'm not going to get any better if I don't do it, so. So, gotta do those reps. So, I would like to wish everyone, may you have a great rest of your weekend, and may you have a great rest of your day, night, evening, whatever it is, wherever you're at. And this is Sugi Yamagawa, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Okay. Bye-bye.